So, I recently went back and revisited the original 1999 Crash Team Racing, and it was a great little nostalgia trip for me, and it was awesome to see just how far we've come with Nitro Fueled. But then, it got me thinking, what about Crash Nitro Kart? Its content was just as big a part of Nitro Fueled as the CTR content, and was changed just as much, maybe even more so I would argue. So it felt only right that we take another trip back into the past to revisit Crash Nitro Kart. Hey everyone, so here we are. As many of you requested, Crash Nitro Kart. And it seems only fair because seeing as, you know, the content of Crash Nitro Kart was just as big a part of Nitro Fueled as the CTR content was, so it only seems right to revisit it as well. Oh god, I'm not really too sure what to expect. This is going to be a bit of a different experience than revisiting CTR, that's for sure. Anyway, let's just start the game. I genuinely forgot this had full motion video. Genuinely forgot. Oh no, we're going into space. Bye bye. Oh, that's genuinely a sick design for the castle. Look at that, that's cool as fuck.
How can I defeat those pesky bandicoots? And conquer the world, of course.
Oh god. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was Clancy Brown's last time voicing Cortex, and oh god, it really shows, doesn't it? Like, it just sounds like he's phoning it in so badly. I don't know why he left the role, but I think it just sounds like he doesn't care anymore. I don't know why he's waving at them as if he's surprised that they're here, like, they were in the house with you, mate, of course they're going to be abducted as well. There he is! The MVP. Oh, Steve fucking Bloom. I love that man's voice. Oh my god. Entrance is huge. Oh god, these character designs are really ugly. Not to be mean, but they don't look good. The environments look good, but the character designs are just... ugh. I love how Velo's just like, word of your racing prowess has reached my planet. Like, yeah, I saw that first car race you did, CTR. So... instead, I want to do a slightly mediocre version of it. Oh, that menu music. I actually quite like this menu music. I kind of wish they had an option to have this as well as the CTR theme in Nitro Fueled because I like it. It's a good theme. It's a good theme. So yeah, just in case anyone's wondering, I'm playing this on the PS3 because my PS3 can emulate PS2 games and it does it pretty well. I'm mainly doing it on this instead of my Xbox 360 because this is where I've got all my save data on. So when I did my review of Nitro Kart a year ago, this is the version I played, and so all my save data is on this. Like, I've got all my adventure mode data on here, and as you'll see, and here we go, as you can see, the two 100% adventure mode files I got to unlock Real Velo. That was a pain in the arse. Why did I waste my time doing this? I proved nothing. So, I'm kind of cautious about revisiting this because I feel like it's going to be a lot more jarring than it would have been going back to CTR because, well, mainly because of something I like to call the CNK clunk. The mechanics of CNK are very much like they're trying to be CTR, but it just wasn't as good, and as a result it was a bit more I don't really know how to describe it. I think I'll need to actually play it just to experience it. It's going to be a shit show. I do apologise beforehand if I am terrible. Oh, this roster. I like this roster. It's absolutely fine. Except for these two Space Jam rejects. I've never liked them, and I probably never will like them, so... sorry to the fans of Zam and Zem out there. All two of you. Mr. Buttplug himself. There he is. I actually quite like that. I like the way he holds onto his car. That's a cool little detail. I think the one thing that is a bit weird about this roster is that I've got the box right here. The box literally says, rate as virtually any character in the Crash universe. Bullshit, is that what I'm looking at right now? Oh god, here we go. Yeah. Oh, didn't get the boost. Oh my word. Okay, yeah, this is certainly something. What's the word I'm looking for? It's heavy. Yeah, that's exactly the way to put it. It feels heavy. It's not like bad or anything. It's still perfectly fine to control. But when you compare it to CTR and especially Nitro Fueled, oh god, it's just suddenly dawned on me. Yeah, this track is in daytime. I forgot about that. I forgot they changed it so it wouldn't seem like a B-Tech Crash Cove. That's one thing I will say about Nitro Kart. I really like the boost counter. That's an option. I think they should at least have it as an optional thing in Nitro Fueled. That would have been really cool. And there we go. That's my first race. Oh, fun. Those character icons. Just actually looking at them now, they're actually pretty horrifying. As if to emphasize my point just more, this loading screen. Ugh. Look at them. Yeah, definitely probably some of my least favorite designs of the Crash characters. Sorry to say, I just don't think they look that good. So I think, first off, I'm just going to go through a few tracks, trying to ease back into the controls. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, to be honest, but just race on a few tracks, get back into it, see how it feels. I kind of forget. One of the big things of Nitro Kart was the anti-grav mechanics, and I've completely fucked that up. Yep, nice start, nice start. I think that's a thing with the anti-grav in this game. It was a cool idea at the time, but because it was a bit of a new feature, they didn't quite know how to implement it in a smooth way, I guess. It's like, it was a good concept, but the execution wasn't great, and then... But it was a really innovative idea at the time. Like, people say how innovative Mario Kart 8 was for having the anti-grav things, but this game was doing that, like, nearly 10 years prior. Though, to be honest, Mario Kart 8 refined it a lot better than this game did. That's not to say this game doesn't have good moments, it's just like, it wasn't as good as it could have been. It needed to have been thought out a bit more, because for the most part, I kind of find that a lot of the anti-grav sections are just a bit of a, how do I say it, a little bit messy and confusing. Okay, I walked straight into that one. It feels like they wanted to do exactly what CTR did, but they just couldn't get the smoothness down, and as a result, it kind of feels like you're kart racing with bulldozers a little bit. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just that, again, when compared to CTR and CNK, it's such a big difference, and it's so opposite. How did the fuck's sake? Again, that's another thing with the anti-grav. Coming out of the transition between anti-grav and regular racing is a little bit awkward. You lead to instances like that, because if you're not at the right angle, you can be a bit fuckety. Oh, I just realised I've got the lap set to 7. Didn't mean for that. Hang on, let's get 50 boosts. Let's get a 50 boost chain and then... No! I got to 49! No! Ah, bugger. Yeah, I can't be arsed anymore. Let's just go to a different track. This is an interesting loading screen. That thing is the stuff of nightmares. They didn't bring those back in Nitro Fueled, did they? They're like a track hazard. They didn't come back. Entrance looks like he's shitting himself. I really like the theming of this sort of world phenomena. What was it, like the weird time-based dystopian world? It didn't really have... The theme was just nonsense, I think. I'm not too sure how else to put it. And that's one thing that's a bit weird with Nitro Kart. It's the tone of it. I think what I'm getting at is, like, think back to CTR. That felt like very Crash, because a lot of the tracks were based off levels from the original Crash trilogy. Whereas with Nitro Kart, they didn't do that. So they created worlds that, while you could feasibly see it existing within Crash's world, they were new, so they felt a little bit off, and it created a tone for the game that is a bit strange and a bit un-Crash-like, shall we say, but I still like it. It's still unique. It's still an interesting take to the Crash universe, if anything. Okay, I think I'm starting to get the hang of the controls a bit more. I think once you start boosting and getting fast, it feels a lot better. But when you're sort of going slow and not really into the flow of things, it is a bit of a clumpy. That's the best way to put it, clumpy. It's like CTR's system, but a lot clumpier. That's a big metaphor for CNK in general. It, like, on paper, it should seem like the perfect sequel to CTR, but in execution, it just didn't quite nail the feeling that I wanted to do. One thing I will say about CNK though are the tracks. I think the tracks were really good. They were just as good as CTR's in my opinion. And I'm very glad they brought them back in Nitro Fueled with the mechanics, because these tracks deserved to be, you know, they were good, well-designed tracks. They deserved to have a second chance. And I'm glad that they did, but with the much better mechanics. And so, yeah. Next up we do Clockwork Wumper. I think I'd say this is definitely my favourite track from CNK. And I think when it came into Nitro Fueled, because of the smooth mechanics and like the updated visual look, I would definitely say it's actually, in my opinion, better than Cortex Castle. And I say that because the two tracks get compared a lot, as do a lot of the CNK tracks with CTR tracks for that matter. Actually, that's one thing I probably should address, the fact that a lot of the I think I addressed this in my review of Nitro Kart I did about a year ago, is that a lot of the CNK tracks did kind of, what's the way to put it, sort of have a very similar concept or feeling to certain tracks. Like, Inferno Island is very clearly trying to be like Crash Cove. This track is very much clearly trying to be like Cortex Castle, like Thunderstruck's clearly trying to be Hot Air Skyway. You know what I mean? The tracks echo concept ideas. Like this one, much like Cortex Castle, it has a lot of 90-degree turns. But I don't think that's a bad thing. If anything, it meant that the track designs were still good. And I think when you had the right mechanics, they were even better than the tracks that they tried to copy, in this instance, with Clockwork Wumper. I love this track. I just think it's really damn smooth. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. No, I forgot about those things. I forgot about that, no. Oh. I mean, just look at this area, though. Like, there's a lot of detail in this area. For a PS2 game, the environments look really good. I've said it before, I think the character models look trash, but the environments look really nice. They still have a bit of a cartoony air, but oh. What happened? What? I can't go on there? Oh, that's a piss take. Well, I've lost this race. 7th is not very humble, but you know. Cheeky little shift there. Yeah, that didn't go so well. Oh well. Oh god, so yeah, this is why I wanted to play Thunderstruck, because I think this has some of the worst implementation of anti-grav. Like, it's just messy. It's confusing, messy, and it's disorientating, and I don't like it. Ugh. That's one thing I also remembered. There's different power-ups in this game as well. They don't have the potions. They have like those electrical things you can leave behind, and they also have those like those freeze mines. If you run into them, you become like frozen for a brief second. Imagine if they brought those into Nitro Fueled. People would be so fucking salty. People would get so mad at those things. It would be unreal. Now, before we do something else, I want to try one more track, the Hyperspace Way, because this track was probably the one that changed the most drastically from Nitro Kart to Nitro Fueled. And I think, yeah, let's be Velo for this. I'm not gonna lie, it might be a controversial opinion, but I think they absolutely butchered this track in Nitro Fueled. Just saying, I think they took out too much, personally, and it feels like a completely different track now. And it's a shame, because it makes the track lose a lot of its grandeur and epicness. Like this bit, this bit was entirely taken out. I kind of get why, because it's all anti-grav track, but you could have just put in a different section of track and not made it anti-grav, and it still would have been cool. I don't really see why they couldn't have done that. It would have been absolutely fine. It feels a bit, the Hyperspace Way in Nitro Fueled just feels a little bit lacking. I don't know why. Oh my god, I didn't mean to do this. Can I make that? Oh no, I thought I could make that. I don't know what it is. I just feel like this was like a really epic, grand. Like, look at all this. This just feels huge. It feels bombastic. It feels epic, and I feel like a lot of that is lost when they try to redo it. And like, it's, again, a really weird implementation of anti-grav, and it's just confusing and disorientating. I did not know where the hell I was for a second there. I don't know. The Hyperspace Way is still a fine track in Nitro Fueled, but just, yeah, it's one of the few tracks where I felt the original actually did it better. Because for the most part, I think Nitro Fueled improves on nearly everyone, bar one or two, and this is definitely one of those one or two. I don't know, I just think they just did a really good job with this one here, and it feels like a proper epic finale track. So I think now we'll try a little bit of adventure mode. Just give it a go, and oh yeah, here we go. The teams. I forgot you could do the team thing in adventure mode. Holy shit! I just realised they're actually doing the same animations that they had from CTR. Sorry. Yeah, look, Engine's doing the thing where badges around on the thing. Tiny's doing the weightlifting. Cortex is doing some shady shit on his phone, using incognito tab, mate. It's probably for the best. That's probably also another thing I should discuss, is that people really seem to want the CNK adventure mode in CTR Nitro Fueled. I'm sorry to say, guys, I don't think it's likely at this point, considering the fact that we're nearing the end of CTR Nitro Fueled's life cycle in terms of content. It's not going to be likely. Well, theoretically, yes, they could do it. I'll just overwrite this one. I've not really done anything on this one anyway. While they theoretically could do it, I just don't think they will. It's looking unlikely. Sorry to be the party pooper, but you know, I just don't think it's going to happen. Unfortunately, sorry to say, but that just might be the reality of it. Oh god, this is the thing. Yeah. Why have you got the stiff mouth animations in this game as well? This is one thing I never got. This was fine in 1999 because of the PS1 limitations. This more so than anything just illustrates that Vicarious Visions were trying to copy CTR so much. They didn't need to animate it like that, but I kind of think they just did it just to be more like CTR. I don't like the Velo Moon. It's looking at me like it wants to do things to me, and I don't like that. I'm gonna go and hide in here because it scares me. A clock! I didn't even know these were in CNK. I'm sorry, I'm getting so excited, but it's so rare to see a clock. You barely fucking see them in Nitro Fueled nowadays. It's exciting to see a clock whenever. Because I kind of think, like, what was it? Beanox probably made them a bit too scarce when they changed things with the power-ups, and it's like, I kind of wish they were brought back and a little bit more frequent now. Funny story, I actually remember very distinctly the first time I played CNK. It was, as part of that, my friend had that, I think it was like a multi-pack of 3 Crash games. It was this game, Twin Sanity, and Tag Team Racing. I borrowed it off him because I wanted to play Twin Sanity mainly. I had no real interest in Nitro Kart, and Tag Team Racing I already had on my PSP, so I played it there, and I didn't even like Tag Team Racing that much anyway. And so his Twin Sanity disc as part of that, like, combo pack was scratched, and so I couldn't play Twin Sanity, and so I ended up playing this instead, and it was, yeah, as someone who was used to CTR at the time and had never experienced this, I initially looked at it and thought, oh, this is just like CTR. And I started playing it, and I was like, oh no, oh no. But I think when I sort of came back to it about a year ago to do my review of it in the lead up to Nitro Fueled, I actually kind of came to appreciate a lot more of the better aspects of this game, like the track design and the graphics as such. I understand why people don't really hold Nitro Kart that high, mainly because of the controls, and that's perfectly fine. I get it. That they can be a bit of an issue if you're not used to them. They are definitely nowhere near as good as CTR's controls. But I don't think that should take away from the good aspects of it. Like the good aspects, like the track design, as I said, the track design and the visuals, they don't deserve to be sort of forgotten. I always like to see the good and the bad in the game. You gotta take the rough with the smooth, you know. Though I am glad that all these tracks got a chance to come back. All this stuff got a second chance in Nitro Fueled, where it was, let's just be honest, it was a lot better in that game. And I'm glad for it. You know, it's really weird on this track. I'm so used to, in Nitro Fueled, and this track going insanely mega fast because of the blue fire pad before the finish line. So I'm used to sort of being like insanely ridiculously fast by this point and having to manage that. But I don't know, it's just strange how doing things like that, like adding the blue fire pads, actually changed the pace of tracks so drastically. And that goes for the CTR tracks as well. They added, like, Sacred Fire pads to tracks where they didn't have them before, and it completely changes the flow of the track in terms of how fast you maneuver and, like, the speed of it. It actually is quite interesting to think about, really, how they did that. I just realised that looks a little bit like Oxide Ship there. Oh, and also this, the most pointless implementation of anti-grav ever. I'm happy that they redid this in Nitro Fueled, because There's no reason for this to be an anti-grav section. It's just entirely pointless. Again, it seems like just a frivolous gimmick that they wanted to show off, but they just didn't know how to properly execute it. So it's just a bit iffy. So I think now we face Crunk, or Blue B-Tech Papu Papu, as I call him. I think that's a fair statement. I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, let's look at him. Yeah, he looks a lot like Papu Papu, a big blue B-Tech Papu Papu. I think it's a fair judgment to say. This is one thing I actually think CNK did somewhat better than CTR, is the boss races, because I like how the bosses actually have their own unique like power-ups that they leave behind, and it's not just like a power-up that you can, like with Ripperoo, he just spams TNT crates, Papu just spams potions, Komodomo with TNT and Nitro, and Pinstripe with bombs. But with this, each of the bosses had like a unique little weapon that they use. Like Crunk had this like spiky stuff, Nash had those like teeth that chomp around, the Norms had that, I think it was like a box that it was like a box that if you ran into it you'd get frozen in place for a second. That was a weird one. And Geary had like barrels that he left behind him. Again, they were fairly similar to a lot of the other items, but they were just stylized and a bit more unique, and I kind of like that. And I like how I think it was like how they varied the races. Like, so with Crunk and Nash, you just raced against them, but with the Norms, you had 2 people to race against. And with Geary, he had like the 2 little minions that you had to watch out for. Oh dear. And with Velo, he had like the little minions as well. It was they just had a little bit more of a unique challenge to the bosses. And the bosses were definitely harder in this game, that is for sure. They were definitely a lot more of a challenge. They literally could not look less infused if they tried. They looked dead inside. Oh yeah, he gives them the yo-yo here, doesn't he? Yeah, I wouldn't take that, Crunk. Crash has probably kept that up his bum. Because if you've played the platformer games, you know that's where Crash keeps all his stuff. He keeps them up his bum. At the end of each level, he pulls the stuff out of his bum and he's like, yeah, look what I found. That's nasty. Yeah, he knows what he did. He's laughing. He knows what he did. Ow, the big old Colosseum. Oh, so this is epic. I love this. This is a cool, big epic area. And there's like, I think that's where the gem cups are. I think so. Yeah, it's a shame. I know people really want the CNK adventure mode in Nitro Fueled, but I don't think it's going to happen. Mainly because CTR and Nitro Fueled's cycle of content is very clearly coming to an end, and the adventure mode would be quite a sizable addition. Well, theoretically, yes, they've already got the tracks, the Relic Race challenges, and the CTR, CNK challenges, whatever you want to call them. They theoretically only have to create the hub worlds, but even then, it's still a big addition they'd have to make, and because they're kind of winding down on development, it seems like any additions they do make now are going to be very small, like carts or characters or skins, small things like that, things that are easy to implement. Whereas a whole other adventure mode is quite a sizable thing, and I don't know, maybe I'm proven wrong in the future, I don't know, but I just don't think it's gonna happen, guys. I'm sorry to be the party pooper. I just don't think it's happening, sorry to say. But overall, this has been interesting going back to CNK. It's been a lot more jarring than CTR, mainly because of just how it plays. But it still has some good merits to it, though I'm so glad that this game got a second chance to have its content done through Nitro Fueled, where it was a lot better, honestly, and I'm happy for it, because the good aspects of this game don't deserve to be ignored. But yeah, that's that. Oh yeah, I forgot you could do this. But yeah, that's that. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I don't know if I'll do any more videos like this. I don't really know if I want to go back to tag team racing, but I don't know, maybe we'll see. So anyway, yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Feel free to like and subscribe if you feel like it, all that stupid stuff I say at the end of every video. And I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys.